Hi, folks. Welcome to week 8, where we'll be talking about Google Classroom, which is a tool that you may or may not have ever used before. If you haven't, awesome. You're going to get familiar with it. If you have, also awesome. You'll be able to come up with something really cool right out of the gate. But even if you've never touched it before, I can promise you Google Classroom is very easy to use and get a hang of. So do not worry about it being hard or, difficult to get involved with. It's actually pretty simple. I think the only real tip, big tip up front is that, I will pull up the directions where it also tells you that, but when you get started with it for the first time, it's going to ask you a question. It's going to ask you if you are a teacher or a student. You are a teacher. Please keep that in your head. You're a teacher. You're in college. You're ready to be a teacher any minute now. You are a teacher now. So this is just good mindset for you, if nothing else. But if you don't say you're a teacher, you won't be able to create your own classroom, items. You'll have to have somebody else add you to theirs. So I would have to do that for you, which is kind of irritating for both of us. It's not a big deal if it happens. If you accidentally click the wrong thing, it's okay. But try not to. That way you actually have access to this thing. This is only, by the way, this is only when you're using your PNW account. If you use your personal account, you're not going to get asked this question and it won't be an issue. But if you use your PNW credentials, then it's going to ask you that question and it's going to only ask you one time. You will not be able to change your answer later. So just keep that in mind because it does come up from time to time that people kind of mess that up and then we have to create classes for them. So hopefully that's not you and it won't be a big deal. But once you get in, and it's the link is classroom.google.com, and I'm already logged in, and you're actually going to see that I'm logged into a bunch of people's classes because we've been doing this for a while, and I'll share a couple of examples with you so that you can see what they can look like. But this is my Google Classroom environment, and I have a test open so that we can play around in here. So I'll show you a little bit of what it looks like. Your goals, I'm going to show you this too. Your goals are going to include making sure you have an introduction. So you really only need a few things here. Introduce yourself to your future students, whatever grade, this is your future world. And so you make it look like whatever you want it to look like. So if you want to teach first grade, you're a first grade teacher. If you want to teach 12th grade, you're a 12th grade teacher. It doesn't matter. You decide and you address your students in the way that's most appropriate. If you're working with early elementary, you may want to include parents. You may even want to have a separate parent area where parents are getting stuff from you. It's totally up to you how you do this, but you definitely want to at least introduce yourself. Look at your goals and your standards for the school year. Actually go to the Department of Education website and bring up the standards and give us links and information about the standards that you're going to be using in your class this semester or this year. You can give us any broadly defined goals too, like you want your students to be more empowered citizens. That might be a goal. And so you might talk about that as well as, what are your personal philosophies and goals for your kids. Then you're going to want to tell them about the class rules, get them oriented. This is the first day of school, remember. So what are the things you talk about on the first day? You tell them about the class rules. What do you expect from them? It could be behavior related as well as technology related. But what are your rules, expectations, and what are the consequences if your rules get broken? Or don't get followed correctly. What kinds of things can happen so that they get the whole concept of what expectations in your class look like. Be as stern or as fun as you want to. Again, it's your classroom. Your first lesson. What are the first things you want to do on that first day? It could be something that's curriculum based, academic in nature. It could be starting off with a science lesson or a math lesson, or it could be something totally fun, like an all about me project. You could give them slides. You could give them a Google Doc. You can do a video for them. You can do all kinds of fun things, but you decide and you put that together in the way that you wish. So you'll get an idea of what it looks like when you first log in. You'll see always to your class code. That is what I need. What you're going to turn into to Meet in Blackboard, you're going to turn in this class code. If you go to people, you see it there as well. It'll be a little, 7 or 8 digit code, with letters and numbers mixed up. And you just copy that and you'll paste that into the comment section. That's all I really need from you. If you're not sure and really want to make sure I can see it, you can also add me to the class. You can actually invite teachers and students. You just press the button and give their email address. So you can do that as well. But Google Classroom is set up very simply. It's got a stream which has all the activity in it, where you can just add things at your leisure. I have to actually move myself out of the way here. But you can add things as much as you need to. Whatever you'd like to say, you can copy and paste things in here. You can drop us straight to some Google Docs that you have. It'll go straight into your Google Drive, so you can grab things out of there. It's a great way to put nicely formatted things in there, because by default, if you just type, you don't get much for nice formatting. And you can add video too. So if you want to bring in a video, you can add a link to something. If you want to add a link, you can add a attachment. You can just upload a file. So if you made something in Word or PowerPoint or whatever, you can upload that too. And that is a way to get that thing into your Google Drive as well. So you actually do 2 things at once. And then when you post, it'll be there. And then students can add comments. You can add comments as well. And if for some reason you don't like it, you can always edit or delete it. However, now that's just one way to do things. There's also classwork. Classwork lets you do a little bit more organization, and I encourage you to try this route for some of your stuff, because it does make things a little neater looking. The stream is literally just a stream, kind of like the Facebook timeline. So it goes, it goes in chronological order from the newest down, which means that your earliest stuff gets forced down to the bottom, which may not be what you want. When you do a classwork item, you get a choice. You can do assignments, you can do quizzes, you can pose questions that students answer right there in Google Classroom, or you can post regular old material of whatever type and shape that you want. So let's say I want to post something. It could be my class rules. Here are the rules, and you might have that as an attachment or a Google Doc. I'll just pick something to put there as an example. There's my ABCDs that I did earlier. So here's my stuff, and you have this chance to create a topic. So you can actually give them a topic that then becomes an organizational element in classwork. So when I post this, you will see there's my class rules topic with stuff under class rules. If I had other stuff to add into class rules, I can easily do that. And so you can keep creating as many topics as you need. So you could say have a math one and a social studies one and a reading one and so forth. And each one of those can have things organized under them. It helps keep things a little bit neater inside Google Classroom. So I do highly recommend that you check that out. Even though we only have a few things that we're adding, it's still kind of a nice way to make things neat and clean, and a little easier to follow too. So check that all out. When you're ready, you're gonna post your class code, and that's it. So explore the tool at your leisure and have some fun with it. And I will show you what others have done with it. For example, this is a high school example. Peyton did a really nice history classroom. And so he has a few things. He has one little kind of intro that's telling us about it. And then when we go to classwork, he's got everything organized. Of course, again, he doesn't have a lot, but he's got some things there for us to engage with. There's a little survey in there that he did. There's some his classroom rules. So each thing has a Google Doc attached to it with some information, and that's his whole classroom. So it's a really nice way to keep things organized, but yours can look very similar to this. Give it a shot and have some